The headlines: Soldier neutralizes terrorist, recover cache of arms in Plateau and Kaduna State. Gunmen kill 8 soldiers, policemen in Imo State. Police in Lagos launch probe into death of Afrobeat singer Promise Olameji Aloba, popularly called Mohbad. From the international scene, UN expert says crime continue against humanity in Ethiopia despite truce. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you for joining us, and now the details. We start with security. The troops of Operation Safe Haven and 3 armed divisions of the Nigerian Army in a joint operation have neutralized 2 terrorists at Kafanchan in Jema'a local government area of Kaduna State. The joint operation also recovered arms and apprehended 24 others suspected kidnappers during the conduct of several sting operations in the Jos area. In a statement, the spokesman of the command, Captain Oya James, said 5 arrested criminal suspects were also charged to court for criminal conspiracy and possession of firearms at the Chief Magistrate Court Abattoir in Jos South of Plateau State and were sentenced to a 1 year 6 months imprisonment. The spokesperson, however, said a total of 43 arrests were effected, 24 suspected kidnappers arrested, 6 victims rescued from kidnappers, 3 murder suspects arrested, and 3 dog peddlers nabbed, while 5 attacks on vulnerable communities were dated within the period. Over 1,000 hunters have been mobilized to join the fight against rising cases of banditry in some communities in Bauchi State. District Head of Lame and the Sarkinyak in Bauchi, Aliyu Yakubu Lame, asked his village head for special attention to the fight against kidnappers and bandits coming into their domains. The monarch speaks to Adamu Imam in Gumau Lame district of Toro local government area of Bauchi State. The report.
Rising cases of kidnapping in Bauchi State, especially around Lame district in Gumau, Toro local council area, has pushed the kingmaker to mobilize about 1,000 hunters to fish out the kidnappers from their hideout inside the forest. The bandits have been terrorizing people living around these areas. The district head said that the state government and the security agencies have been supportive in the fight against bandits throughout the state.
It is everyone's responsibility. So they should look after people that came in, day out. Look at who are coming into that bush, because they are not living with in the remote areas. They used to live at the hills and also at the bushes.
The Sarkinyak in Bauchi said involvement of hunters to tackle banditry has started yielding positive results.
Obviously, we can say it will definitely come to an end, and we have achieved a lot.
On their part, the mobilized hunters explain how they usually encounter kidnappers and bandits with local weapons and limited resources. We work with other vigilante groups, but we are more conversant with the forest area. We patiently search deep inside and endure all the stress, because our watchword is no retreat, no surrender, till we get them. Though there are leaders from Dogua and Kubwa local government areas of Kano and Kaduna who usually support us in this fight, we, however, do not relent in fighting them till they are no more in this Lame forest. The hunters said God helps them whenever they confront the criminals despite their strength on top of the hill. We need assistance in the area of fuel for our motorcycles. to continue this fight. We put in a lot of effort to get the job done. We thank God that with this development from Sarkin Yaki, we are good to go. People from the town do contribute and take care of us with some amount. But if any group has interest in helping or collaborating with us to end the activities of kidnappers and bandits here, they are very much welcome.
We are doing our best to fight those terrorists. But most of all, we are all poor people. We are taking all these responsibilities from our pockets, and with the support of other poor people. And we are doing our best, but times goes on, maybe we may get tired.
Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed had last week admitted that the state is overwhelmed by activities of bandits who find hiding place in the state because of sustained military offensive against them in other locations. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
No fewer than 8 security agents comprising soldiers, policemen and personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps have been killed by gunmen in Imo State. The incident, which happened on Tuesday morning in Umwa-Lumaku community, Ehime, Mbano local government area of the state, threw the area into panic. Members of the Joint Security Task Force team, who were in 2 security trucks, were ambushed and set ablaze by their attackers. None of them survived as they were burnt inside their operational vehicles. A security operative who doesn't want to be mentioned said reinforcement teams had been sent to the scene of the crime with the intent to arrest the suspect and rescue the corpses of the slain security operatives. A resident in the community who do not want to reveal his identity for security reasons said he was the security agent a few minutes before they were set ablaze. When contacted, the spokesperson for the police in the state, Henry Okoye, confirmed the development but asked for time to get the full details of the incident. For over a decade, life in Borno State has been a challenge with frequent attacks of Boko Haram insurgents destabilizing the state of affairs, leading to the destruction of lives and livelihoods of the people. Residents of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, are now experiencing pre-insurgency stability characterized by peace, safety and security of life and property. Adamu Ngulde filed in this report as presented from our studio.
Muhammad Adamu was once a successful farmer and trader, but has been living life like this for the past a decade. This makeshift structure is where he's trying to raise his family after Boko Haram violence turned his life upside down. He says his chain of businesses, houses and farms all perished in a single attack in 2009. I am from Abadam local government area in northern Borno. Before this insecurity, we lived peacefully without any worries. But since the problem started in year 2014, it displaced all our assets. Borno State and local government are trying to support us with food and non-food items. We really appreciate. The conflict in northeastern Nigeria has displaced more than 2.5 million people, forcing them into camps. The government shut down these camps last year as reconstruction gathered momentum. This is the former school and home of Mohammed Yusuf, the founder of Boko Haram. Nigerian security forces demolished the structure shortly after the rebellion was contained in 2009, but the movement got even bigger and continued to kill people and destroy property in northern Nigeria. As restoration hits length and breadth of the state, hundreds of schools destroyed by armed groups are being rebuilt, with more students enrolled.
I want to assure you that government of Borno State will very soon re-establish very functional facility for one hand.
Borno State Governor, in terms of infrastructure, thousands of kilometers of roads that were destroyed during fighting between security forces and Boko Haram are being fixed, while biggest traders load up goods to neighboring Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. With improved security, farmers who couldn't access their farmlands have returned to their farms after decades of destructions. Even hospitals that were not spared by armed groups are back, offering services to the sick. However, with Boko Haram still posing significant security threat, many are worried that the restoration efforts could still go wrong.
Request by the family of Afrobeat singer Promise Olameji Aloba, popularly called Mohbad, for the police to investigate the circumstances that led to the death of the musician has been okayed by the Lagos State Police Commissioner, Idowu Owohunwa. This was confirmed by the state police chief while unveiling the investigative team to newsmen at the command headquarters in Ikeja. The report.
Setting up an investigative panel for the inquiry, the Lagos State Police Commissioner Idowu Owohunwa says the team was constituted to investigate circumstances surrounding the death of the young Nigerian Afrobeat singer Promise Olameji Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, who died on the 12th of September 2023 in Lagos. Present at the inauguration of the investigation team was the head of the State Criminal Investigation Department, Wahid Ayelara, Deputy Commissioner of Operations Fatai Tejani, and the deceased family. Addressing journalists, the State Commissioner of Police enumerated the term of reference for the investigation panel.
But we draw confidence in the fact that the Governor of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has assured us that he will give whatever support we might need from the state in order to aid our drive for justice and for a very conclusive and professionally delivered investigation process. We will leverage on this. We also leverage on the goodwill that the Inspector General of Police has promised to also extend to us.
The police chief urged members of the public to provide the needed information that would help the panel carry out its assignment diligently.
An interim report that will give a clear direction to this investigation will be submitted. And where, as much as legally and professionally permissible, we will continue to share the progress of the investigation with members of the public.
He also assured the public and families of the deceased that the team will deliver on its mandate without fear or favor.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is mourning the death of the singer Mohbad and has invited the Department of State Services, the DSS, to join the probe into his death. The Afrobeat star died last week under mysterious circumstances, prompting an investigation following public outcry. Many Nigerians have called for a thorough probe into the circumstances leading to the death of the former Malian music artist. Sanwo-Olu, in a statement on his X handle on Tuesday, assured that the state government is closely working behind the scenes with relevant authorities and keenly following the ongoing investigations. The Lagos governor is equally calling on the friends and fans of the late star to refrain from inflammatory comments as the probe continues. The National Human Rights Commission and UN Body for Human Rights have called for a holistic approach to protect the rights of migrants. The organizations made the call at a two-day training on human rights and migration organized by the NHRC and the UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and Migration in Abuja. The training, titled Promise Protection of Migrants, started from September 18th to 19th to strengthen capacities of West African states, develop human rights-based responses to smuggling of migrants, and combat rights violation. The Executive Secretary of NHRC, Tony Ojukwu-San, described the project as apt in efforts to tackle issues related to violation of the rights of migrants. He decried social, economic, and political vulnerabilities such as poverty, inequalities, conflict, and human insecurity, which he said are major triggers to irregular migration, trafficking, and smuggling of migrants. Also speaking, Adwo Kufuor-Owusu, Senior Human Rights Advisor, Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said migration-related issues had affected countless lives and individuals and communities.
It is safe to say that human rights is the beginning and end, as well as the objectives and outcomes of every migration activity. The need to adopt a human rights-based approach to migration management is underscored by the multiple thematic and sectoral interests that converge in migration management. Human rights are the connectors, the essential glue that should bind the multi-layers of governmental efforts in managing migration and ensuring the safe, regular, and legal migration and return of citizens.
We hope over the next 2 days, you will seize this opportunity to strengthen your capacity to apply the various international and national human rights framework to migrants, especially at international borders. In the spirit of partnership, I equally hope this discussion will allow for more reflections and on synergies between the National Human Rights Commission and other stakeholders, including the UN, for effective promotion and protection of migrants in Nigeria.
President Bola Tinubu has asserted that the African Union is strategically positioned to secure consensus positions for the continent on economic and socio-political relations with the world. President Tinubu stated this during a bilateral discussion with the President of the Union of Comoros and Chairperson of the African Union, President Azali Assoumani, on Monday in New York. The African Union chairperson noted that the AU seeks to complete Nigeria's efforts in securing peace and prosperity in Africa rather than competing with it. As president of the Union of Comoros, the AU chairperson said that Comoros seeks to learn from Nigeria's experience concerning the steady improvement in diversity management, electoral officiation, and economic growth over many years. President Bola Tinubu also welcomed the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, Hissien Ibrahim Taha, and reiterated that the Islamic world has a strategic role to play in the sustenance of peace and development in Africa and across the globe. The leader of the 57-nation body of cooperation praised the Nigerian president for his active effort in bringing African states to a place of common understanding. The OIC Secretary General extended an invitation to President Tinubu to participate at the OIC Heads of State Summit expected to hold in a few months. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up is affirmative action for women in government a reality or just a mirage? There's and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. Robochi soldiers neutralizes terrorists, recover cache of arms in Plateau and Kaduna states. And gunmen kill 8 soldiers, policemen in Imo. And moving on to more stories, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says it is collaborating with African countries in making sure that they continue the fight against illicit drugs. According to the agency, the collaborative efforts of African countries will be strengthened at forthcoming 31st edition of the meeting of the heads of the national law enforcement agencies in Africa, to be hosted by the NDLEA. Noel Sampson has more.
According to a 2020 report by the United Nations, Nigeria was said to be the country with the highest drug use prevalence rate in the world, with 14.3% as against 5.3% for the entire globe. To address this, the NDLEA says it has been putting proactive measures in place to fight illicit drug use and trade in the country.
The HONLAP meeting is an annual event that brings together heads of drug law enforcement agencies in Africa to discuss drug abuse and trafficking trends and develop actionable strategies to combat the scourge of this in the region. The last one was held in Nairobi, Kenya, where Nigeria was unanimously elected as the host of the 31st edition, which will take place from Tuesday, September 26th to Friday, September 29, 2023 in Abuja.
Financial investigations in drug trafficking cases and the role of cryptocurrencies in drug trafficking and related money laundering. I think it is fair to say that NDLEA has made great strides at starting to follow the money. So not only to seize drugs and arrest those ones that are basically being caught in the context of these investigations, but also to look at how to follow the money, how to seize the immense riches that are being produced through the illicit drug trade.
Illicit drugs refers to highly addictive and illegal substances such as heroin, marijuana, and meth. Why decision to use one of these drugs for the first time is usually a voluntary one. An unexpected addiction can make the decision to quit later significantly harder, leading to a prevalence in use which Nigerians is battling to address. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The clamor for women representation in government is still being echoed across Nigeria as a 35% affirmative action continues to linger in the face of non-compliance at both federal and state level. In this report, Trust TV's Jimmy Adzande speaks to a cross-section of women in Makurdi, the Benue state capital, on concerns around marginalization in the Hyacinth Alia administration in the state. The report.
The women said there cannot be development in a society that ignores women inclusion because of the development instincts to the female gender.
If women are not included, there is going to be less or no development at all. These women are the ones that know what is happening when it comes to our economy, when it comes to the growth of the younger ones, their children, those that they go out there to meet. The voice of the women needs to be heard. Women are the ones that are down. They know the cries of the citizens. They know the cries of what is going on with every individual. Just by looking at the person, they will know that this is what this person is going through. That is a gift from God. So if they are excluded, I don't think that would be, in fact, it's not even a good thing to do.
While reflecting on the role they played during the elections to support the emergence of the current administration, the women expressed reservations on the possibility of changing the narrative in line with their expectations.
While the elections were going on, I watched out keenly to see who would emerge as a woman in the various positions that were contested. To my greatest dismay, I couldn't get anything. Now, my concern or anticipation is this. Benue State has celebrated the coming of Reverend Dr. Father Hyacinth Alia so much, and we the women are not out of it.
Some of the women, however, hope that Governor Alia will make amends going forward to guarantee women inclusion in governance in order to appreciate their contribution to his success, they claimed during the 2023 elections.
If we go about the ratio of percentage of women to men in Benue State that voted him into office, I think he's supposed to consider us and give us some slots to work with him. Because they say where there is no women, I think the success is limited. But once you have women around, then I think progress will be. And what we want him to do is we want progress work in Benue State. We want him to achieve, and that's what we want him to have us in and include women in areas that he knows that is key to us to work with him. When I mean work with him, work with him for success, so that Benue State will be a change place.
Women participation in politics and governance are said to be pivotal in development of the society. Their continuous marginalization, according to the respondents, is inimical to growth and development. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
From the international scene, UN experts say Ethiopia and its allies, including Eritrea, are still violating human rights in the Tigray region. The UN report says human rights violations in Tigray were grave and ongoing, and there had been attacks by the Eritrean forces against civilians. Eritrea had rejected accusations from residents and rights groups that its soldiers committed abuses in Tigray. Eritrea's information minister Yemane Gebremeskel told Reuters news agency that the report's finding was defamatory and said the country was preparing its formal response. Ethiopia's army and government spokespeople were yet to comment on the report. Ethiopia's government and its armed forces have repeatedly denied that their soldiers committed widespread crimes on their own or with Eritrean forces, and have promised to investigate complaints of individual abuses. Authorities from the Ethiopian region of Amhara have also denied that their forces committed atrocities in neighboring Tigray. And finally, in sports, Rwanda has been confirmed as the host nation of the 2024 Olympic qualification for singles and Africa Cup. The announcement was made during the annual general meeting of the African Table Tennis Federation, the ATTF, held last week in Tunis during the 26th ITTF African Championships. Rwanda received massive support from the delegates, while Tunisia withdrew its bid to support the candidacy of the East African nation as the host of the two prestigious tournaments in the calendar of ATTF in 2024. This will be the first time that Rwanda will be hosting major table tennis tournaments in the world, which are expected to attract the best players in Africa. And with that, we wrap up news updates on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. You can join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.